Welcome to the series where we look back from the past to the present day of people's lives who became band members and music artists. I am Dumadrellin and I introduce you to the Music Artist History documentary series. And this very first episode is all about Orange.
I'll be there in 10 minutes.
The 2000s era is a wild kind of decade for the music industry, and many genres of rock music would gain popularity. The rise of the not much known bands to becoming well-known bands, like The Misfits, Zebrahead, Rancid, Bowling for Soup, My Chemical Romance, Panic at the Disco, Paramore, New Year's Day, Coldplay, Arctic Monkeys, Linkin Park. There's just so many out there that just rose to fame in the noughties. Oh, 2000s. How I missed you. Not really. I was just a little child and it wasn't that great. Womp womp. Firstly, let's look into the frontman of the band. An English-born little chap named Joe Dexter Denman, who is commonly known as Joe Dexter apparently. He was born on the 23rd of December in 1987. He is a singer, songwriter and record producer. He is also the son of Paul Denman, who is also a bass guitarist and songwriter from the 1980s band Sade and the 2000s band Sweetback. Sweetback is composed of band members from Sade, excluding Sade herself. Ever heard of Smooth Operator? Yeah, that's him. Paul was away touring a lot with Sade in the early years, and Joe and his parents lived a quiet life in London. He would later have a baby sister called Rose. What a happy family. Oh yeah, Angel Rose can be found anywhere on social media. Have a look, check out her content, I guess, on Instagram. Have a try. See what you think. When Joe was 6 years old, he and his little family started moving over to Los Angeles in California to live there and attended this Hollywood schoolhouse. He didn't have a bad day of his life, so he said. When he was 12 years old, he and his little family decided to go back to their home country to live in Hastings. But it didn't work out, so they moved back to Los Angeles instead. Woohoo! Jolly good fun, old chap. His self-confidence wasn't exactly great upon the return to LA, until his discovery of punk rock made a positive change to his life. He loved it, so he became a punk. Rock on, baby. There were issues to his health at quite a young age. Joe has lived with a condition called cystic fibrosis, which is a genetic disorder. This was when he was 8 months old. Living with cystic fibrosis has some big challenges for him, as the condition is not even survivable back in the old days before even 1993. Thankfully, a miracle drug was founded in 1993, as it's called Pulmazine, or even it's called Dornase Alpha, which is used to treat cystic fibrosis, obviously. Literally, it's just a pill. Joe takes Trikafta, which is now a newer and better miracle drug. Joe was having a bit of a hard time hanging on for his dear life, as his parents were by his side. His condition worsened, but he never gave up, and I'm glad he remained undefeated. He still fights it on a daily basis. So he had told us a story on his Instagram account and TikTok of how Pokemon card collecting saved his life. And he still has his Pokemon card collection today! Woohoo! So, here is Joe Dexter and Poker Dexter, which he does Pokemon stuff every now and then as a passionate hobby. And he still collects Pokemon cards as well. You can find Orange on YouTube and other platforms as well. Joe, if you're watching this, I hope you're having a good time enjoying this documentary. Peace out. Anyways, back to the story. So lead guitarist Jack Bergland has been known by Joe and Rose, and every so often he hangs out with them, and they love how much Jack makes them laugh. Rhythm guitarist Mike Valentine would meet Joe in 5th grade, as they became best friends as they share a common interest in Pokemon, long before they started a band together, with a drummer named Jesse, but Jesse left a year after. Zach Glosserman one day would later join the band, after they started putting up flyers in hopes for a drummer. Sum 41 was the reason Joe started his band, and he was a big fan of them beforehand. The 4 members decided to go for a name Orange, after debating on Raven 54, West Side, and Nameless. Not to be confused with Agent Orange, Code Orange, or Orange Juice, but it's just Orange by itself. However, they did tour with Agent Orange, as that band got stoned and drunk when they got to Oregon. Those words were taken from Joe Dexter from TikTok. Orange would be a temporary name, but ultimately it stuck with them forever, and they made their first demo, Rock and Roll, consisting of the first of the 3 songs, Ghetto Blaster, No Rest for Weekend, and Orange. Orange by Orange, that's funny. After that, Orange were at the Key Club at Sunset Boulevard to perform their songs. The demo certainly impressed Tim Armstrong from a band called Rancid, after Joe's female friend gave the demo to her dad, which is none other than Tim Armstrong. Doom Dragon from the future, hello. Okay, so I would like to make a quick clarification due to a mix-up in my research. Oopsies. Yeah, I know. It was actually Joe's mother who gave the demo to a friend called Brian, who was friends with Rancid's lead singer Tim Armstrong, who owns Hellcat Records. So the girl Joe Dexter was friends with was Sophie Simmons, who was Gene Simmons' daughter, not Tim Armstrong's. And she had a listen to it with her dad on the drive back home. He was blown away by the demo and he wanted to sign Orange to his record label. And Gene Simmons is the lead singer of Kiss, which is very cool. But Joe stuck with Hellcat Records, as Gene would call it Wombat Records, quoted from Joe Dexter from TikTok. Okay, I hope that clears everything, so see ya, bye. Joe wore a blue custom tartan suit on the very day they were signed into Hellcat Records. In fact, it was featured in the Punk Rock Museum in Las Vegas for the When We Were Young festival a year ago, by the time of this recording. And to be honest, that is amazing. Look at him! He's standing with his own suit on display. Even neighbour's Derek Whibley's suit from Sum 41. Completely lost for words. And even the acrobats. I've seen that show in 2014. I was like around 11? 11? Anyways, they started touring with the Addicts, the Misfits and the UK Subs. But not much to say about that, but Orange started making records and they made their first album. Welcome to the World Of was released on the 23rd of July 2005. It consisted of all 3 songs from the Rock and Roll demo and newer songs Hollywood, Forgive and Forget the Past, Cool Mexicans, Affirmation Song, the acoustic version, Attitude, Roller Coaster, Why She Won't Go Out With Me, Never Too Late, and Saint Awesome Part 1, also known as Metal Mofo. All of the songs were written by Joe Dexter for every album, keep that in mind. The album was quoted from Fat Mike. It was the best album that Hellcat Records put out this year. You can find those videos on TikTok, YouTube and Instagram on Joe Dexter. Later on, they toured with bigger pop-punk bands, Real Big Fish, Bowling for Soup and Zebrahead, and Joe grew up with posters of Bowling for Soup. Hey, dreams do come true after all. So Orange kept on touring, 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 touring. Escape from LA would be their second album, released on the 11th of September 2007. The album contained songs Not Coming Home, Get the F*** Out of My Way, Tiara, What I'm Looking For, The Last Punk in LA, Too Scared to Fall in Love, The Only Ones, Flying Without Fear, Republicans, Stars, and St. Awesome Part 2, also known as St. Awesome Strikes Again, and a cover song of Karma Chameleon from Culture Club, which would be the most popular of the album. Before the release of Escape from LA, the band toured and performed at the live shows, tossing around new songs and touring with the Misfits. Joe found so much inspiration from the Addict, and especially with the theatrics. He is still inspired to this day. Also, there were photos found on Alamy, and they were taken on the 15th of September 2007. See for yourself. The band, Joe Dexter with Ashley Hittersdorf, who would turn out to be Ashley Costello from New Year's Day. I was genuinely surprised that was Ashley Costello in these photos, but I guess Hittersdorf would be her last name? I don't know. That discussion will be in for another New Year's Day music artist history video, I know. But that was off topic. Since the signing of the band, Paul Denman was Joe Dexter's manager for Escape from LA and Welcome to the World of Orange. I didn't think he would be Joe Dexter's manager, but since he was in the music industry, there's no surprise in that one. Orange was lucky enough for a few big radio stations to pick up on the song What I'm Looking For. They ended up playing at the KROQ LA Invasion with bands like Paramore, the Foo Fighters, Against Me, New Year's Day. Bro, I love Paramore and New Year's Day. They also started doing their headlining tours as well as the Hellcat tour with their label mates the Necromantics and Time Again. What fun. I think Joe should tell his stories all about the bands he was involved with and stories behind all of his songs as well. That's kind of a neat idea, I think. Now for the sad part. Mike Valentine would depart from the band to pursue a career in the film industry because he had interest in films. It was a bittersweet moment that both Mike and Joe were the founding members and even dreamed of making it together with Jack Berglund. But Joe respected his decision altogether. Jack Berglund departed from Orange due to his unhappiness about playing with the band. He wanted to play more rock music, but he wasn't very interested in pop punk. He became distant and ignorant from the band. Joe and his mates arrived early for a band rehearsal, but Jack was caught awkwardly leaving the band. He was asked by Joe to reconsider from leaving the band, but to no avail, and Jack's decision was final. Orange's punk rock era was something out of the ordinary, but it wasn't long until Orange moved slowly towards pop punk in 2008. With the next album being written, Zach Lotterman and Joe Dexter are in need of new members. At that time, they had the songs to play, even playing with every instrument they could, making a demo of Phoenix. John Doering and Brendan Minded were a part of the band for a short time, and even as touring members as well. Kevin Seaton was Joe's manager at that time. At one Christmas party, Joe would meet Perry Ladish and sparks flew for the love of Green Day, and they got terribly drunk, and a gang of them and employees broke into the record label and set off alarms. Crikey, what craziness. They never got caught as well. Perry Ladish was perfect for a rhythm guitar, and Alec Gomez came along after Brendan Minded played with the band for a short time, and Las Vegas was his home after all, so he couldn't stay with Orange for long. That's fair enough for him. They were looking for a producer for a long while, until they bumped into Gavin McKillop, and he worked with Sugarcult and MXPX. Despite how awful the demos were, Gavin loved them regardless. Orange continued to tour around America in 2009. In Portland, in Oregon, something just went wrong. After finishing their first song on the show, the audience took notice of Joe Dexter coughing up blood, and they had to cancel the tour entirely. Joe was taken to the nearest hospital, but they had no knowledge of cystic fibrosis. Zach Glosserman drove the band back to Los Angeles so they could get to Joe's cystic fibrosis team. At first it seemed to be cystic fibrosis related, but Joe was diagnosed with swine flu, and that sounds terrible, oh dear. Thankfully, he lived to tell the tale. Right, I need some fresh air. I'll be right back. September 10th was the day that the Phoenix album was released. It consisted of songs Each Other, Everything I Need, Standing Still, Never Going Out Again, Hold On To Your Heart, I Wish, Desperation, Happening Today, Catching Up, Fall Into the Sky, Sunday Night, and the cover song of Lou Reed's Perfect Day. The band would gain a lot of attraction, not solely because of the album, but one particular song changed the entire game. Joe wrote this particular song and felt it wasn't a good enough song to be in the album. So it was planned to be in the B-side album, which usually B-side albums are more successful than A-side albums. A few guys from Cartoon Network got a hold of this song, and it was quite strange that Orange never released that song quite yet. And no one knows how Cartoon Network got their hands on that song. They were looking for a pop-punk song as a theme song for an animated series by Man of Action. But one song caught their attention, and they chose that song.
So make ready, start a revolution. Make way, we're gonna have fun tonight.
That's right! The song Joe Dexter wrote was in fact Revolution. Cartoon Network had made the call to Orange and was asked to come do a music video for a Generator X TV show. This song was revolutionary! Tough crowd. The music video was a tremendous hit. It gained around 150 views overnight. Now it has 2.6 million views today. Joe in his 20s do be looking so cool. Oh my gosh. Joe, you are amazing. When I watched this music video for the first time, I thought, oh, this guy is so cool looking. It's like, so badass, you know. It's like he was just wearing this cool suit, you know. That's very punk rock-esque or something like that. And he looks... I don't know how to describe it. It looks very cool looking. It's like very broody and stuff, you know. But hey, but I sincerely apologize for fanboying. This is not what this documentary is all about. And anyways, other than Revolution, 3 of Orange's songs were used in Generator X in some episodes, like Never Going Out Again in episode 5 on season 1 and Catching Up in episode 9 in season 1. And Ghetto Blaster was in somewhere in an episode. I'll put it on the screen so where you know where it is. But anyways, upon reading the lyrics of I Wish, I realized that this song was all about his old bandmates, something that Joe wished that the original lineup stayed forever on. That's very bittersweet. Standing Still is the song that some people thought it was about his friend, ex, lover, or a family member. Joe revealed on his Twitch stream that it was actually about his old dog that passed away. And Joe was influenced by The Cure to write this song. I love The Cure, they're the greatest. The Standing Still music video was filmed before the Revolution music video even came to pass. Since Revolution was a hit, it was included in the Phoenix album. The Phoenix album did have a commercial failure in the US. Funnily enough, the previous 2 albums didn't sell very much, and Hellcat Records had pretty much kind of lost their magic to get hit records. And the money wasn't really coming in very well. The marketing was abysmal. It's an absolute shame it did. Oh no. However, Joe and his band knew that they did have the hit record and was going to let it slip away. In 2010, after months of waiting, Joe decided to hire a PR team outside the record label personally to focus on marketing the record overseas. And guess what? It was a complete failure. Just kidding! The album was a smash success over here in England. They loved it, even I do as well. Orange really made names for themselves and appeared in every single big magazine to name. Joe became an inspiration to many people in the country because he has cystic fibrosis and those who had to face adversity. Zebrahead was asked to tour with Orange by the press. It was the very first time that Orange toured in England with so many big bands, and it was considered the golden age of Orange. "2011 was the year Dead Sexy EP was released, consisting of only 3 songs: Resist, Electron Gun, and Pistols and Pills. The EP was self-managed by Joe himself, and a few more music videos were made, such as Each Other, Everything I Need, Perfect Day, Resist, and Electron Gun. The one thing about the Everything I Need music video was the woman in the video named Taylor, with the E, not the O. She wrote some of the lyrics for Pistols and Pills and even flirted with starting a band as well. Sometime after, Taylor sadly passed away due to suicide. It was a devastating time. At least there was a photo of her and the band together. Rest in peace, Taylor. Rest in peace. If you are struggling with mental health and you feel like you're out of place, you're in a dark time, sometimes it feels exhausting to live as well, so it's not nice to have those negative thoughts in your mind. And you should always be happy with your life, no matter how bad it gets. So if you need some help, here's the helpline and the website as well. Also, you could have a look at BetterHelp, but unfortunately I'm not sponsored by them. So every day will be a good day. I can guarantee you, no matter how bad it gets. A year after Dead Sexy was released, Joe decided to study at BIMM Brighton. The momentum of the band ceased right there, and it was Joe's biggest mistake, as he found college a lot more fun. The band spent loads of time trying to find a record deal, but to no avail, given the fact how impressive the band's momentum was and the great quality of their records. Joe was studying at college for a few years and wanted to do his solo record. In 2014, the rest of the band departed altogether because they lived in different cities and countries, so it naturally fell apart. So what happens next? For a few years, Joe utterly failed to make a solo record. Luckily, all is not lost when he met Danny Snow in college, and it wasn't long until he joined as a new band member as a lead guitarist. James Ball mysteriously appeared in Joe Dexter's direct message on Facebook. He was indeed a fan of Orange. James wanted to be in the band as Joe was looking for a drummer, even though it was not public knowledge at the time. James was the best drummer that Joe has ever seen. Joe met Billy Wood through Joe's sister Rose, and to his surprise, Billy is a fan of Orange as well. In 2016, Joe spent his time in hospital again. I guess it's cystic fibrosis related. But at least he sang his own ballad version of Blink-182's Damn It. Pretty nice, Joe. The band started working again and came up with a new song, Late Nights and Early Mornings, in 2017. The band started touring again with the Orange Goes Bananas tour. At first, it seemed like a good start off, but the fan base sadly died down and people were getting older and it became lackluster. Oh no. It was a depressing time for Joe and it wasn't all what he expected. Oh dear me. Eventually, Joe became a solo artist in 2018 when he found a manager named Jeff Peters. I don't know who he is. And Joe was signed in and his focus was changed entirely as a solo artist exclusively. Then in the later year, he did a cover song of Last Christmas by Wham and George Michael. 4 months later, he did a ballad cover of I Want You to Want Me by Cheap Trick. The Joker outfit in this music video is impressive, I'm not gonna lie. In 2019, the band did a cover song of I Wish It Could Be Christmas by Wizard. Splendid stuff there. Joe has been busy with life and he has done Twitch streams many times, but he hasn't streamed ever since. Joe has a Pokédexter account, which I mentioned earlier, where most of the time he does Pokemon stuff and Pokemon card collecting as well, the Pokemon TCG, of course. The Pokédexter account has more following than the Orange band and his main account as well. In 2021, Joe started a new band called Superstar Leggings. The idea of the band that it would be an 80s style pop punk genre. The only song that was ever released, it was called Hydra. It's a pretty good song and I quite like it. You could have a try and listen to it, see what you think. In Joe's point of view, starting a new band and releasing new content with very low following on social media wasn't a very healthy start and it was quite discouraging for him, even though he thought Superstar Leggings were the new Orange. Such a shame though. But at least going as a solo artist is the right direction for him. Otherwise, everything else would have gone down the drain. Womp womp. In 2022, Joe has been busy with stuff, Pokédexter stuff also, and a new song was in the making. What else? Oh yeah, he was at the When We Were Young festival, as I have mentioned earlier. He played in the pre-show with Marco DeSantis and his suit was featured in the museum. Pretty rad. He does storytelling about his time with Orange, touring with other bands and life story on his Instagram, TikTok and YouTube shorts. There's not much I can say about the year 2023 because there's not much going on there. He met Sarah Natochenny, or Natochenny, whatever you call it. I apologize for butchering the name, but the voice actress of Ash Ketchum from Pokemon. That's very cool. Orange hasn't been very much active since 2017 or 2019 or 2020, even though they did the Christmas cover 4 years ago at the time of recording. And Joe has been going to conventions like Pokemon and other things. The year 2024, and it is 2024 right now. Joe very recently released a brand new single called Train, which is about his love life starting from 2016 and supposedly a love letter to his girlfriend, but she dumped him long before the song was ever released. Womp womp. Long distance relationships, guys. Okay guys, I think that's pretty much sums up everything, which brings this video to an end to this very present day. Wow, that was a long journey. So, it's time for honest opinions. So, Orange is one of those underrated, underappreciated, greatest bands of all time out there, even in the unknown. They make great music, just if you like punk rock, that's their early thing, and they make great sounding music with them. The songs are great, but my favorite album is the Phoenix album, which is the best album out of a bunch of these albums they made. throughout the years. I would like to talk about the two particular songs from the two albums I find fun listening to. The two-parter song, Saint Awesome, was such a wacky, random, hilarious comedy and parody song, telling a little story about what goes on in Idaho, and Saint Awesome disappearing just to save the world, and Santa in his midnight super sleigh destroying this dinosaur that was on his naughty list. That part made me giggle so much. An evil wizard invading the world. Something about angry Koreans and even... Oh my god. Oh my goodness me. An evil wizard taking a massive crap of his life before being defeated by Saint Awesome. Truly bonkers. I love it. Joe, you are a genius at this. The cover song Perfect Day was fantastic. It's one of my favourite cover songs, but my only complaint I'll say is the guitar solo in the bridge of the song. It couldn't have been included in my opinion, but whatever, it's Joe's music. He does what he likes to do with cover songs, and that's a fair game. Standing Still is such a great song to listen to, one of my favourite Orange songs, not to mention that the Phoenix album is my most favourite of the bunch. I just love the way it sounds, kind of like The Cure in a sense, and the song resonates with me in a way. It does remind me of something that one friendship I kind of lost, and which I felt really guilty about it. And I very much quite distanced myself from my best friend after the incident. I did take it too far on it, and my actions were motivated by someone very unlikable. But at the end of the day, they're still my friends, and they mean something to me a lot. And they're still in my heart as a friend. I have ensured myself that I will not make that same mistake ever again. The rest of the songs of Phoenix are wonderful. I won't ever stop listening to the album. Escape from LA has some pretty good punk rock music, continuing from their first album with a more punky attitude than Welcome to the World Up. The album sounds pretty good, even though I don't mostly listen to punk rock, but now I do. But my music taste can slightly change, so it's good. It's good. I don't have many other opinions about their music, but check Orange out. You might like them. They're quite underrated. If you ever grew up with Generator Rex, you might like Orange because they created the song that later became a theme song. Although Generator Rex flopped in terms of viewership. People grew up with Ben 10 years before Generator Rex existed. I played the Nintendo Wii game and watched the series as well. I wish Generator Rex would come back for another series. That's something we would like to have. You know, I felt jealous that Joe Dexter had a selfie with Heather Baron Gracie from Pale Waves, but at least he had a good time. Heather is just amazing. I'm not too bothered about her being a lesbian. Oh no, she was bisexual years ago. Some of us straight males face the same disappointment as we feel that way, but I don't care. Well, Pale Waves maybe will be in another music artist history video for another time, just like New Year's Day, of course. So, Pale Waves, woo! Oh baby, won't you stop it? You and I haven't got it. Television romance. Oh baby, won't you stop it? You and I haven't got it. Television romance. There's so much history about artists to uncover, and having an in-depth story and the side of the artists and their songs as well. They may be the greatest, the baddest, and the ugliest, but they make great music. Or some that don't make great music. That is Orange done! Thank you so much for watching this music artist history, viewer. Consider this episode as a pilot episode. So because when the time comes, I will make more of these. So, like, subscribe, destroy that bell, destroy it, smash it, yes! Well, until the next time, Doomadreddon signing out. Woo!
You're gonna reap just what you sow. You're gonna reap just what you sow.